Hi guys. I think we can start in about 2 minutes time. I will wait for others to join in. Okay, so we can start. Um, so I will be starting up with the exercise I gave for last week. I'd like to know how many people were able to do it. If you're able to do it, just say yes. Okay, okay. Um, not enough. Yes. Okay, and that will mean you tried but it didn't work. Okay. So I will take us through it. I believe you can all see if you can see my terminal clearly, please let me know. If you can't, okay, I will zoom more. I think this is the best I can get. I hope it's better now. So the exercise was actually quite easy. Uh, it only required you to just make little configurations on your Vagrant file. Um, so I'll be taking us into the Vagrant file. Now, apparently, what I said was what I said was that we should set up two different Vagrant machines and establish an SSH connection between the two different Vagrant machines. So it was all you just needed to do is you see one good thing about Linux is generally that you really have to make use of your help buttons, your help very very well. So Vagrant comes with what is called Vagrant multi machines. I hope this is fine now. Vagrant comes with what is called Vagrant multi machines, where you can have multiple machines and spin them up with one Vagrant up command. Now, what I just simply did here was to define two different Vagrant machines, and I gave them the name. I gave one the name web and the other one the name DB. If you understand what I'm trying to say, just say yes. Great. So I gave one the name web and I gave the other one the name DB. Apparently in here you can decide to define multiple configurations. Yeah, it doesn't matter, Chidi, it doesn't matter. You can decide to define multiple connections to those DBs. So I will be editing them. Okay, first before I do that, I already had my Vagrant machine up, so I will destroy it. I'm trying to start again from the beginning. Yeah, I'm trying to start again from the beginning, Mary. I'm going to destroy my Vagrant machine. The Vagrant machines that are set up. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're going to sort that. We're going to sort that issue out. Now, the first thing you need to do is to have your Vagrant machine, your Vagrant file machine. So I have these already set up, and I'm giving mine. You can give it master. I'm also focusing on the same Ubuntu Focal machines that we're using. Then I'm giving this other one slave. Now, within the machines, you can decide to give them private IPs, or we'll leverage on the private IPs that we already had set up here, where we said it should use the dynamic IPs. So, but if you want to give any of them a static IP within your configuration file here, you can just add you can add the command to give it a private IP, a static IP. So we're going to be focusing more on the. Yes, you can use any of those. We are going to be focusing more on the DHCP, because that was not part of what we were told to do. Now I've edited my Vagrant file. All I need to do now is to start it up by running my Vagrant up. Okay, Vagrant init. Vagrant file, there was an error loading a Vagrant file. The file being loaded and the error messages are shown below. This is usually caused by invalid. Okay, let's go to our. Okay, so there is an error somewhere on our line 15. Okay, yeah. So it identified the names that we gave our Vagrant files, and it identified that we had some errors in it. So we're going to run the Vagrant up now. Nicola, you notice the word. Did you say word? So the machines are now being initiated. So I'm practically using the same machine to spin up the two Vagrant files, to spin up the two Vagrant machines. There's something I'd like you all to notice. Now, you need to understand this. What this is doing here, this particular line is saying that it has, for that particular machine, it is port forwarding the SSH to port 222. So for instance, if you want to log into a Vagrant machine directly from your system, yeah, sure, I will. If you want to log into your Vagrant machine using the IP address of the system, you have to use this port 222 to log into the machine. So you can just have your Vagrant machine and just log into it. So when I was writing my script, I told it to, once it completes, it should run an inline script, hello, to let me know that it has completed. So it has run that script and it's let me know that it has completed. Also this has also completed. Now, you want to see, so you have to ensure that this is my Vagrant script. This was the Vagrant script I ran initially. So once the VM has been provisioned, run a shell, an inline shell that echoes hello. That's just basically what this line of code means. Then this is a define, where you're defining the VM that you want to use, and we're defining a master, or we're calling it master. Everything about it should be master. Then we're referencing it master.vmbox, and we're giving it the name Ubuntu Focal. Yeah, we're going to get to that point. We're going to start writing scripts eventually. It's part of our course outline. So I believe we all understand that. Please, if you don't understand, please let me know. Just say a no or something and ask your question so I can respond to you before I move further. Okay, fine. I will go back one more step. So the exercise was that we should create two Vagrant machines and allow machine A to communicate to machine B. So for you to create two Vagrant machines, on your Vagrant file, you can actually configure two Vagrant machines. You can configure multiple Vagrant machines. You can have as many as 40 Vagrant machines if you want to. So here, this is where I'm configuring my Vagrant machines. And now, this is more like a Vagrant inline script, where the first line of code, or the first line here, is the inline script I wrote saying echo hello if you have provisioned the Vagrant machine. That's what this first line of code means. Echo hello if you have provisioned it. So config.vm.provision allows you to provision a VM in Vagrant files. Now the second one is where I configured the type of machines I want. And here I'm just giving it, you can give it any name of your choice. I just gave it two different names, master and slave. So I have a master machine and I have a slave machine. Provisioning, that's when it's a line of code. You would you can get all those things in the help. You can get all those things in help on a Vagrant file, on a Vagrant. If you go to the Vagrant up site, you should be able to get all those. Yeah, these are new big things also. So the next thing here is I'm defining the type of machines I want using I'm sure we all went through that in the first training, where you configured the Ubuntu machines you wanted to configure. So basically, I just used that to configure two different machines, telling the Vagrant to spin up two different machines, one master, one slave. You can give it any name of your choice. Initially, I gave it web, so you can give it any name of your choice. I'm just using regular nomenclatures here. So it has already provisioned the two machines for me, and for me to log into the machines, because I gave one master, you would use the Vagrant SSH master to log into the machine. Now you're saying Vagrant SSH, then the name of the machine you gave, the name you gave to the machine, which was master. What I'm interested here is to take the IP address and the name of the machine is Vagrant. No, it will have an error. If you just type the SSH, it will come up with an error because it's not particularly sure the one you want to log into. You can see this machine requires a specific VM name to target in a multi-VM environment because we are using a multi-VM environment. Now I want to get the IP address also generated from the slave. So I'm going to log into the Vagrant slave. Now the IP address is .7. Yeah, so you don't have a main home anymore because you're using a multi VM. You have to give the name that you gave to, you have to write down the name you gave to that particular VM that you're trying to log into. So I'm going to log back into my master because I want to log in, and my master is my A, and I want to log in from my master to my slave. So the first thing we need to do is to set up our keygen. I'm sure we all know how to do this. I'm going to use the default location. I'm not going to set up any passphrase for it. And now I have set that up. Yes, you can. All you just need to do is to create. All you would need to do is to add the other machine under the first machine you created, just like what I did. So practically it's the same machine. I'm just adding another machine into that first one. You have to shut down the first machine, add another machine, and spin it up. So the reason why I'm doing this, why I'm not using two separate Vagrant files to run this, is because I want them to be under the same network. I want them to be able to communicate with each other because they are going to communicate with each other on a private network. That's the reason why I'm doing this way. So, do you have any questions? So right now, I'm now at the point of I have just generated my keygen. Any questions so far? I'm going to the question, but can I SSH a Vagrant on a computer? Yes. You can assign a public network to a Vagrant machine, and you can SSH to it. What is provisioning, please? Provisioning is just a Vagrant method for creating, for assigning different, maybe running different scripts or whatsoever. If you decide to use Ansible, you can use the provisioning to set up Ansible. You can use provisioning to set up Docker and various things on Vagrant. How do you switch between machines without exiting? That's what I'm trying to do here. Chidi, that's what I'm trying to set up right now. Yeah, you can. If you want to, you can have multiple terminals for each if you want to. But here I'm just going to set up one terminal and use one terminal to do this. Now, the next thing I'm going to have to do is The next thing I'm going to have to do is to, so there is, Chidi, one of the reasons why you were not able to communicate from the machine to another is because you are meant to set up, you're meant to make a configuration file. So I'm going to make that configuration file on my slave because that's where I want to communicate with. You're meant to edit the SSH file. The reason why we have to edit the SSH file is so that now you're meant to edit this SSH file so you can allow password. We're going to use the password to allow this sending of our key from the master environment to the other environment. Destiny, I'm actually talking about the exercise I gave last week before we left. I really would like you guys to try this because it's this is very interesting. And these are some of the things that we'll need to do to make us understand this better. So you're meant to allow this public key authentication to yes. Then on hello, can everyone hear me? Okay, great. Then we're also going to allow password authentication to yes. The reason being that I want to make my copy from the master machine to this. So I'm going to just allow password authentication to yes. After you've achieved it, you can come back and remove and disable it. I used this is the command I used, the nano command to edit the SSH file, SSH config file, so I can be able to make some changes on the I made some changes on the password, allow password. If you don't do that, public key authentication to yes. If you don't allow the public key authentication, it would not allow you to authenticate the public key. So Chidi, that was the reason why the public key was not being authenticated. Anybody has any questions so far? Anybody having any questions so far? All right, great. Yes. Yes, that was the reason for you. Exactly, that was the reason. Now, I'm going to exit and I'll log back into my master. I've already generated the keys, so I'm going to just do the P copy ID -I, the location of your key, the location of your key. Remember, it's a public key you're going to push. Then I'm pushing it to my slave machine, which I said was on the 192.168.56.7 IP. Oh, the I is just interactive. It's just interactive, just to let you see the interaction that is going to take place. So I'm allowing my public key the new key filters. Okay. One of the reasons why this is happening is you need to add your SSH key to your system, which is what I want to just do now. Okay, no, the IP address was IP address. I got the IP address when I logged into my system. So right now, what's happening now is that my SSH is not connecting. That's what's happening now. My SSH is not connecting, so I need to ensure that it's connecting. There are usually when you set up an SSH key, you need to also add it up to your system. So don't worry, I'll. Okay, so let's confirm that so once we have done this, the SSH is ought to add it to our system, to the other system. Yeah, you can copy it manually also. Yeah, I'm also going to reload it. Yeah, I'm going to reload it also. Sorry, not all commands use, so just you can have multiple ways of doing it. So I will try to copy again. Just okay, fine. I think we're good. So if I now run my SSH Vagrant at the IP address that I created before, that's 7. This is the slave I'm trying to log into. I'm getting a permission denied public key. I'm sure this is what every one of us was getting. So I'm going to log back into my system and confirm my SSH key has actually been copied here. So the key has been copied, but the reason why I'm still having my public error is because I didn't uh, I didn't enable. Okay, yeah, I didn't reload my SSH. Okay, let me reload my SSH also here first. I didn't reload my SSH here. Oh, I'm always making this error. Okay, so let's go back to our master. Sure, I'll clear my screen now, and let's try run it again. So so it's fine. It has connected. Now you can differentiate the two keys by what if we check the IP address where we are connected into. Remember, the first IP address we were trying to connect from was the .6 IP, and we're trying to connect into the .7 IP. So you can see we are already in the .7 IP. You can see it's the .7 IP we are now. And if I exit and I check this other Vagrant machine, you can see this is the .6 IP. So first and foremost, before we continue, before we continue, you see, the thing is that this is a class where we have to really help each other. Ask your questions. So unfortunately, I've not responded to some questions in the last 2 days. Ask questions, take it one step at a time, and you will understand it all. Everything that I've just done now can easily be understood. So first of all, before we move forward, who has understood what we have done up until this moment right now? If you understand, if you understand what we've done up until this moment, just kindly say yes. So I'm not getting, yes, you can DM me on Slack. I'm not getting any yes. So that means nobody has understood anything that we have done. Yeah, sure. I'm going to take a quick recap. Okay. Okay. I'm going to take a quick recap. I'll start from the beginning again. Now the exercise was to generate 2 Vagrant machines. I'm trying to see if I can get something on that. So apparently this is the solution to that problem here. This problem that we're trying to solve. I'm going to share the link here. This is the solution to the problem. The exercise was to generate 2 Vagrant machines and allow them to communicate to each other. Now, what I've just done is I defined the multiple machines that I wanted, which was using this command. Now, this command here, vagrant.configure, vagrant.provision, allows you to create an inline statement, which I created for the machines I created. And the vagrant vm.define allows you to define multiple vagrant machines that you want connected to each other, or you want connected within the same public IP. Within the same public IP. You can all go through. I've sent the doc machine, the doc file there. So if you read it, it says, as you can see, you configure define takes a block with another variable, that is the configuration variable, and you're giving it the name web and all that. So this was just basically all I did. Now, after doing this, I was able to generate 2 Vagrant machines. Now, you can see your Vagrant machines by running the Vagrant status. Running Vagrant status should give you can see the 2 machines I generated. I'll clear and I'll do it again so you can see it better. So can we all see that the 2 machines that we have that are running right now, the master and the slave machines? You can give them any names of your choice. If you want to get more details about the master machine, for instance, I want to get the IP address, I want to get anything that's running on it. Okay, you have to halt it first. If I run my Vagrant halt, so you can actually get details of that machine. Okay, sorry, I'll clear my screen. I will clear. It's telling us that the machine itself is down and all that. So you can get various details of the machine through running some of the Vagrant commands. So I'm going to start up the machine again. I'm going to start up the machine again. Now the machine is back up. It's running the machine and it's back up. So does everyone understand what I've done now up until the fact, up until creating the two machines? Yes, the more yes I get, the more happy I am. Okay, fine. Now we have our two machines provisioned. So the next thing I want to do is to access my slave from my master machine. So the next thing I'll do is to log into my master machine. And I said, to log into your master machine, you have to use Vagrant SSH master. This will identify that I am trying to log into my master machine, the machine I called master. So I picked up the IP address from here. This is the IP address. Better still, you can also run the IP address and you can identify it has two different networks, but I want to use the 192.168.56.6 IP. Does everyone understand how the IP came about now? Okay, great. Now I want to log in. I want to get my IP from my slave also. I need to log into my slave by running this. Yeah. It will still work. It will still work because it has two networking devices in it. Yeah, it will still work. So, so I need my IP address for my slave machine, and my IP address for my slave machine is .7 192.168.56.7. Now, for me to be able to SSH into a machine, the SSHD does not allow you to SSH into a machine by default. It does not allow you to. It does not allow public key being copied into the SSH machines by default. So what I needed to do was you can use your Vim, you can use whichever one you're comfortable with. etc. Go into the SSH configuration file, and you have to come down to password enable. Sorry, I hate this place. I don't know how you guys use it, so I'm going to use my nano, please. I hate Vim. I don't know how you guys enjoy Vim. So the first thing I did when I got here was to, why is this? Sorry. Nano. Oh, thank you. Yes, I missed the D. Thanks. You can see because it was looking very, very unfamiliar. Thank you very much, Daffy. So you come in here and I allowed public key authentication By doing this, I allowed public key authentication, so it would now allow me to have access to my system from an SSH key publicly. And additionally, I also allowed password authentication to yes. By default, Vagrant uses the Vagrant as the password because I was not going to manually push it. I wanted to use the SSH copy to push the key into this file. So does everyone understand what we have done so far? Okay. All right, great. So I'm going back to my master machine. So going back into my master machine, all I just needed to do was to run the SSH copy ID -I, the location, the part where it is located. Then the Vagrant at host IP I'm pushing into. So do you understand the command I used? Yes. I will comment to enable. It does not matter. That is just the ENPOS is just a nomenclature. You can name your networking anything you want to name it. So do we all understand what I've just done right now? Which command? No, this command is just a default command just to copy I want to copy the key to the new host IP. Okay, great. So after you have copied it, if you run your SSH Vagrant at, because that's the IP address you're trying to connect to, asks you for this, which is Vagrant. This asking that because that's it. So now we are in the 192.7 server. So we have been able to connect between our server to the 192.7 server. That's all. Yes, it will. Based on the username and the IP, you are directing it to a username and IP that's within that network. So it will look for that server that has that IP and it will automatically copy it. Yes. Yes, most times, yeah. Samson, could you be more specific on what you want me to take back? The SSH reload was actually to reload the SSH key, to reload the configuration you made on the SSH. Yeah, I can get you that command. So don't forget the the location of the public file you're pushing and the name of the server and the IP address of the server. That's just it. Because of Vagrant, you can also just run the Vagrant SSH 192.168.56.7, and it should also be able to send you into the new server. As if I even enabled this. No, I didn't enable it. But this is also a short way of doing it. But I didn't enable it. No, yeah, it is, but you need to enable it. I didn't enable it while I was setting up my Vagrant file. You need to set up that command. Okay, so I want to assume that so if you understand what I've done up until this moment, please can I just get a big resounding yes while I go to the question and answer. So Bukola says, in which of the machines did you generate SSH keys and what is the path? So I generated the SSH key from my master machine because I want to connect from master to slave. So I generated it. So you can decide wherever you are generating it from. So I want to connect from my master to slave, and that's why I generated from my master. In which machine did you? Yeah, please, someone should please post the link to the cloud Slack channel, please. Okay, someone can please do that. After configuring the file, no, you don't. You can do your Vagrant reloads to just reload the file, but you don't need to destroy it. You only destroy if you had a Vagrant machine already working, of which you have to destroy that Vagrant machine for this new configuration to work. Basically, we just set up to yes, that's just it. Okay, guys. So let's proceed with our work for today. Okay, so today we'll be talking about Linux process management. We'll be talking about the Linux process management. What are the various things? So a Linux process is a program that is currently being executed, and there are two ways to run a process. So there are two ways to run a process. You can run a process in the background, or you can run a process in the foreground, which is as you're running your system. I'm going to be using my master system to continue. So for instance, if I want to run a process, let's take for instance apt upgrade updates, and I want to run it. Once you run your app update, sorry, I need to be master. Once you run your app, so this is what you call the foreground. The process is running. The process is running on the terminal, and you can see everything that's happening on the terminal while the process is running. So this is what is called the foreground. Clear? Now, if I want to run this behind, all I just need to do is to add the ampersand. Oh, it doesn't work for this. Sorry. Well, let me see. Yeah, it does not work. It doesn't. The ampersand does not work for this particular command, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, it was. It actually was. It was. That's it was. So because of the ampersand, it's still running behind. It's still running the processes behind. It's still running the processes behind. That's why we do not have the terminal. Once you press your enter, it then stops it and lets you know that it has completed it. So yes, it worked. So that is using the background to run a Linux process. Do we all understand that, please? Yeah, if you want to bring it back to one Vagrant machine, just remove one of the configurations. Just remove one of the VM config file and you'll be fine. Okay. Now, there are different types of processes, Linux processes. There is the parent process, the child process, the orphan process, the zombie process, and the daemon process. Um, One of the most popular process commands you can use is the PS command. So the PS would give you all the processes that are currently running on your system. You can also use the PS, use the help to see all the related help that you can use. And if you do PS AUX AU, this also gives you all. So what I've done here is I've said PS, that is processes. A here means all processes, and U here means all users. So it has given me the users, root users, and the processes that root users are running, then the Vagrant users and the processes the Vagrant users are running. Please, are we all in line? Hello, guys. Yeah, please. I'd like us to. Okay, great, great. So that's there are other commands you can use to see your processes. So your top command, this is going to show us all the processes that are currently running on your system, the ones that are using the most resources. It will also tell us the number of memories we have left. This is the total. So this is a 1 gig system that has 245 MB free. It has used just 149. Then it has 582 for buff or cache. So practically, this is just the top command, and you can use this to see everything you want to see running on your system. Okay. There are other commands like the htop. Htop command it's the same thing with the top command, but it just gives you a more beautiful graphical look with explanations, a little more explanations. And the ps-h is just the help. Just if you want to get anything, once you want to get help, you use the -h or dash help. So this gives us a more beautiful look of the same top command. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go forward. I hope whenever you're going through your LMS, do you all go through the documentations you see down here? because these documentations will also make you understand far better what we're trying to achieve. No, please, Anthony, don't skip the documentation. That's very, very important. Okay, so do we all understand the top process, the process commands? So I'll be moving to the next stage, which is the Linux file system and virtual storage mounting device. So apparently, the Linux file systems, there are different types of Linux file systems. There's the ext3, the HPFS, the VFAT, the X4, the FreeBSD. There are so many of them. Now, these are the type of extensions you can actually create your files relating to. So you can create your hard drive to run as an ext3 or HPFS, but it depends on what you're trying to use it for. Usually, by default, it creates it as an ext4. So Linux will be able to read, store information, and run executable files on that ext4. So apparently, the user space, the system calls. So when the system making its call, it makes its call to the different C groups and so on and so forth, and all this and all that. And even me, I'm confused right now, but it is nice to know all these things. Don't worry, I'm just playing. It's not really. It's just for you to understand how the system communicates with your various drives, and how the drives also communicates with the network. So we have the virtual file system that talks to the proc system. The proc folder is where you have most of your process stored. I'll take you through that now. So this is where you have your running processes being stored. So Linux actually communicates with your proc folder. It also communicates with your dev folder. Your dev folder is also where you have systems stored that the user is using. So the dev folder is for the user, the proc folder is for the systems itself. And all this communicates with the memory to ensure that it is reading what's actually happening in the system, and it is keeping you updated with what's happening in the system. So these are automated commands that are automated reading that currently happens on the system to help keep the system at the right status you really want it to be. The C groups are more like the system administrative groups that also help communicate with your systems, that uses more of the proc commands. Then the NFS is a network file system, and the EXT, like I mentioned, ext4 also the network file system. Now the network file systems communicates with the network devices and so on and so forth. I hope we are following. Yeah, most of the times you naturally might not really need to know most of all these things, but it would be good to have a good graphical knowledge of it. So when you want to debug, you know where you need to go to. Okay, so the next thing is to run commands to see the type of the type of external blocks we have, and so on and so forth. So I will do the DMESG. So DMESG is Wow, man, guys, this is interesting. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. No, don't be scared. We are just running the command. BMESG is just is a command to show you the all the cycles and all the everything that's all actually being stored, and the spaces that has been used to store all those things on your hard drive. So it's just breaking this, it's just breaking up all the various spaces that has been used in your hard drive to store various things, and also giving you it also gives you things like yeah, letting you know, okay, app ammo in file system. So it just gives you a general and over not of a comprehensive overview of your hard drive, all the things that have been stored in it, what it's using, and things like that. So you can see up until the kernel imagery and all that. So you have a very good overview of everything that you're seeing in your system. 80% of the time you might not need to do that, um, but sometimes you might need to do it. So if you want to see all the block drives you have on your system, use the list block command. So the list block command gives you all the block drive that you have on your system. The first three blocks are not yours, so you don't have access to them, but they are actually blocks that are being used by the system to run most of the prop commands and PS commands that I showed you earlier. The next three blocks are the blocks that we have access to. So we have two versions of our blocks. The internal block, which is the SDA one. Now the SDA one is telling us that it has 40 gig, is using 40 gig of memory, and it's telling us how many partitions we have. So the SDA one, SDA is the block type, SDA one is the number of partitions. Do we understand that? This is simple. This is simple. I'm sure we all understand it. Currently, I'm seeing 159 users. I don't want a situation where I'll ask myself and that question. I realize that I'm not seeing anybody. Everybody has opted out of the cloud class. I hope you all are not, and I hope you all are not willing to opt out of this class, cloud class. Okay, that's great. That's great. That's great. Okay, let's not run away. Let's not run away. It's interesting. It's just regular. I would advise you to spend a minimum of 2 hours regularly on your Vagrant machine. Make some changes. See how it works. Some of the things that you're familiar that you like to do with your Windows machines, try to do it on your Linux machines. By the time you constantly keep on doing most of these things, and Google is your friend, Google will give you every answer. I doubt if there's any problem that has not been answered on Google yet. So you can always get most of the resources you require from Google. All right, guys. So we have to just go through this go through this. Please go through most of these documentations and try to understand these articles very well. Understand what these file systems are, and you would be very happy you did. So we're moving on to the next, which is the application package management and package. So apparently, the application package management here, we are talking about the package installers for Linux packages. Now we have two major systems, which is the Debian systems and the Red Hat Enterprise Linux systems. From what I explained initially in terms of the types of OSs we have, under the Debian, We have OSs like Mint, we have Ubuntu, we have Ubuntu, Kubuntu, all the Ubuntu systems you can think of, and we have the Debian itself. Now, under the Red Hat package managers, we have CentOS, we have what's the popular guy? Red Hat, yeah, just Red Hat. I think they have their own system. So when you want to make an installation with, I would also let you know that there is the Alpine systems. The Alpine systems is an offshoot of the Debian systems. However, the difference is that the Alpine system is a trickle down system for Debian, where it doesn't have so many processes running at the same time. So it's a unique system. That's what we use for most of our. That's what you use to build most of your Docker images, because it's always very trickle down to just the OS itself without any libraries attached to it. Are we all there? Great. So for us to use this Ubuntu, like I said, is Debian. So we use the APT is what we use as the package manager for Ubuntu. So once you type APT, it explains to you what it is. APT is a command line package manager and provides commands for searching and managing, as well as querying information about packages. So these are the commands that you can use, available commands you can use. So for instance, if I'm looking for Apache, I can decide to run my apt search Apache 2. This has searched Apache 2 and has given us all the libraries that we're going to need to run and to install Apache 2. You can see all the libraries. You can see all the libraries it will require to install Apache 2. If I want to run, I want to check, let's say Nano. Nano will not need so much. You can see all the Nano packages that you would need. It actually still needs much. Oh Lord, I never knew it's going to need this much. All the packages that you need are all here stored, and you can also decide on the particular Nano you want to install. So it tells you, for instance, this is Nano Focal for our Focal system. It tells you you can install Nano Focal, you can install Nano Tiny Focal and things like that. So if I drew Nano Tiny, and apt install. Okay, I can't do this because I'm not a simple. So it has searched, and I can actually decide on whichever I want to install, or if that's what I'm looking for. It's still installing, so y'all should. Now, the package index database. So there is always a database of where all the packages are being stored, and they are all in the etc apt file. So if you go into the etc apt file, you can see the source list, which is, I really advise us not to be coming into this, but just try not to come in here as often as possible, because this is where anything you want to do, this for instance connects you to Ubuntu, so you can be able to download the package managers. This is also connected to Ubuntu, so you can be able to run the package managers and things like that. So I try not to come in here, because at some point, at the time I came in here, one of my careers, and I fucked, and I, sorry for the word, but I spoiled a lot of things. But this is where you store everything you. So if you want to install from a different package registry, for instance, that it's not that is not public. This is where you would include it, and you'll be able to download from that particular registry. So do we understand how apt works and what apt is? Patrick, I want to believe you're just playing with us here. Okay, I'm open to questions now. If Patrick knew everything, he won't be here. So, does anyone have questions for me, please? I'm sure you, has anyone tried to solve this exercise? Okay, that's good. Franklin, what's the exercise 3? I have over 50 requests to accept right now. Tolulope, I will accept everything this evening. No problem. Yeah, I said I have over 50 waiting, so I would try and do all that this evening. I'll go through them. I'll go through the exercises. So generally, from week 1 to week 4, I'd like to know, we have about 15 more minutes. So if you have any questions to ask me between week 1 and week 4, please, I'm open to responding to any one of them. So Samuel, you need to, yes, you cannot. The PHP task cannot be challenging. The PHP task cannot be challenging. All you just need to do, your PHP task, is to add the version of PHP you want to install into the etc app list, and you install it. So it can be, I think it's the easiest task so far. How to make a group as sudo. So for you to make a group as sudo, you need to do that. Oh, sorry. For you to make a group as sudo, you need to do that from this command. Um, so this is what you need to add that. You need to add the user into this and give them members of the admin group. So this is where you're going to add them under this sudo command, and you type the name of the user you want to give access to sudo, and he would also have access to sudo to become a sudo member. Can you please run exercise 2? I can't remember what exercise 2 is. Can you remind me? Making a group sudo as that's quite that's did you try restarting the system? I think you might need to restart that system, because once you make a group a sudo a root user, you will need to restart that system. So try to restart the system, and I'm sure your sudo command should work. Okay, sure. I'll check the Q&A. Okay. Oh, sorry, you can't see my screen. Yeah. So this is the command where you make your once you have made the group sudo, you have to restart that system, and you should be able to the user should be able to have ability to do that. What's the difference between sudo and admin group? There's no difference. It's practically the same thing. Why does every user have their own group? Yeah, because it's part of the design. Even in your Windows system, every user has a group. So it's practically because you want to give roles and permissions. You want to allow different permissions. You want to allow different roles. Allow people to do different things. So you can actually set them up by groups. For instance, if you have a data team, you have a developer team, you have a DevOps team, and you know that the data team have the ability to do certain things which the DevOps should not do, and things like that. You use those groups to separate them based on their different responsibilities. Is it valid for two groups on the same system to have the same name? No, it's not. It's not possible. You can't even have it. How do I make a group created by a sudo only for users? How do you mean? I don't understand that question. Anonymous, please could you reset that question? Okay, any more questions, please? I also like to let you guys understand that for you to do most of the commands that we need to do from a Windows machine, you need to really allow by default your Windows what's it called, virtualization on the NetBIOS. It won't let you do many things that you ought to do. So we need to all try to allow that on our NetBIOS. Ayomide Kende, the reason why you're having this command is because there's nothing like end command. So it should be an exit command, not an end command. Exit. So if you want to exit from your Vagrant machine, all you just need to do is to just type an exit, and you will exit from the SSH command. Okay, guys. I'm not speaking yet. Please, can you give a rundown of the stuff to be downloaded for this cloud class from VirtualBox? There is nothing special to be downloaded for this class from VirtualBox. You can use any of the virtual commands, any of the images you want to use. Hello, I'm sure you guys can hear me, right? Okay, great. So far I can assume that most of us have understand what we've done from week 1 to week 4. And I think we might need to ask the admin. Deji, Deji, please can you answer this question? I think we might need to ask the admins for that. Okay, that's great. On a scale of 1 to 8, let me see what's what you think you can rate yourself based on a scale of 1 to 8. Anyone that feels on a scale of 1 to 8 you're not getting what you want, please feel free to chat with me on Slack. We can have some one-on-one sessions once in a while. So weekends, some weekends we can have one-on-one sessions. So you can send me your messages that you're seeing or the error messages you're seeing, and I can always reach out to you. You can, once I respond to your message, you can call me immediately after that, and we can go through the error message you're having. Do you understand? If you're having issues, we can always have a call over Slack using the huddle function of Slack, and we can resolve the issues together. I don't know what my user is again on Slack. What's my user on Slack? I can't remember my username. Chibuike is my username on Slack. Yes, that's my username. So if you're feeling like you're not there yet and you have some issues, always send me a message on Slack. I might not respond as immediately as you'd want me to. They are the same thing. They are the same thing, Daffy. They are the same thing. User add and add user, they're the same thing. Yeah. Thank you, Joshua. Why don't you use the user ad itself, Patrick, and stop using the ad user? It could be that the ad user itself is deprecated. And for you to know the flags you want to use, or just try to use the dash help. It will help you with the flags you need to use. So I want to assume that part of our reasons for taking this course is because we want to become DevOps engineers. Or cloud engineers, which one? DevOps or cloud? Yeah. There's no difference, but practically, there's nothing really like a DevOps engineer. DevOps is just allowing the operations team, synchronizing the operations team and the development teams together. So cloud is part of the job functions of the DevOps engineer. Yeah, it's a culture. Bakari Emmanuel. That name sounds very familiar. I think I know that guy. Well, yeah, he's actually a culture. Yes, you can be a cloud architect with these lectures. You're starting gradually, and you get to that point. So yeah. I don't think it is. I don't think Terraform is in our curriculum this semester. It's a culture because it's a way of life. The Igbos have a different culture. The Yorubas have a different culture. The Hausas have a different culture. That's just the way DevOps is. So you can decide in your organization to use Terraform. You can decide in another organization to use Pulumi. Depends on what you're using. So these tools are not defined. There's no defined process in setting up DevOps in an environment. So that's why it's regarded as a culture. Our class is over today. Maybe I would Chidi, I can take that up for you next week, or send me a chat and I can respond to you on that. Yeah, it prepares us for cloud engineering and also DevOps, I think, eventually, because we're going to take you through some of those things. Tyler, the friend should try to reach out to me. Adebayo, update your PowerShell version. That should help you. Update your PowerShell version. That should help. That would help you, or use the Ubuntu terminal I told you guys to use. Yeah, for cloud engineering and DevOps engineering also, they are all interrelated. Upgrade your Adebayo, upgrade your PowerShell. Something. How do you mean by DevOps is going out? Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, yes, you all have some DevOps and cloud engineering roles. Adeba, Patrick has just responded to your question. Yeah, Adewumi, you're always welcome. It's not possible that that might not be no that there will be no need for DevOps. It's definitely not possible. Yeah, exactly, Moshood. Yes, the class is over. So I'll catch you guys up on Wednesday. If you have any questions, kindly reach out to me on Slack and we can take it up from there. All right, have a good evening, guys, and take care. Anthony, you need to love this tech team. You can't just do it because of the economy. Love it. Love it because it's going to be a way of life. No, the class was not fast. The time was fast. I think you enjoyed the company with me. Please, let's go home. All right. Bye, guys. Bye. Chibike is my Slack name. Yeah, you can continue your catch up later on here.